Get about a week later, this is my last encounter with the box. But about a week later, I was sitting at my mom's house. Box came on just like it always does. And I sat there, the Holy Spirit said, Craig, it's about to get real. Video came on, Apostle Murray video came on, and this particular video wasn't like any other video I had seen before. This video literally began to almost pull me into the TV. I could almost feel something inside of me being altered or something weird. So what is this? Some guys rapping. And these guys were just like, they had this sound where you couldn't understand what they were saying, and they were singing and rapping it at the same time. It was 4 of them, and they all looked mighty high. And I looked at it, I said, what is this? And then the video went off, and the name of the group was Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I mean, I don't care how saved you are. It's just the sound of them is almost mesmerizing and hypnotizing. You have to just loose yourself from it and back off, because I mean it has a very attractive pull to it. It's just weird. It's unexplainable. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, do some research on them. So I began to do some research on the brothers, and a youth, when I spoke the message, gave me their CD, and their CD, the cover of their CD, it's 4 brothers, Bone Thugs. Y'all can see it up there, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Now, anything that say thug in the name, I mean, come on, I should be able to end the message right now. But, you know, kids now, that's like thug. I mean, you know, they're just desensitized to it. But inside, there are 4 depictions. Now, this is bad. There's 4 depictions of these brothers inside the CD. And each one of them, look at their faces. Death. Skeleton. You see that? Look at your neighbor and say, that's bad. But that's not the worst thing. Name of their songs. Now, you got to understand, they sold 10 million of these. Okay, so when you're looking at it like, what's that? What's 10 million? Name of their songs. Me Killer. Land of the Heartless. Die, Die, Die. It's rap music. Mo Murder. Mr. Ouija. These brothers. So you can imagine how I'm feeling when I'm looking. I'm like, oh my Lord. What has happened? Most popular rappers at the time. Look at your neighbor and say, that's still not the worst part. On the back of their CD, and this is where it got really, really frightening. The back of the CD, they have what they call a Mr. Ouija. See, it has 4 demons in each corner, 1 in each corner. Now, this is a rap CD, remember? I began to look at it, and I looked at the words, and all the words were backwards. The whole paragraph is written backwards. So what do you do when something is written backwards? You hold it up to the mirror and read it. So I held it up to the mirror, and I began to read it, and I think I got maybe past the first line of it. And I was saying some stuff about my soul back in ancient days, some crazy stuff about my soul and this kind of stuff. And they pulled it. I began to read it, and the Holy Spirit got my attention and said, stop. I said, Lord, I'm just trying to read it so that I can, when I'm telling people about it, I can tell them what it said. The Holy Spirit said, no, don't read that. I said, Lord, what is it? And I did a little research and come to find out that back in ancient Salem, witches, when they wanted to put a curse on somebody or an unsuspecting victim, what they would do is they would write the curse backwards, put it in an envelope, and mail it to the person. The person would get the curse, hold it up to the mirror, and read it. And I said, well, Lord, I'm just reading it to get information. The Lord said, no, see, when you hold that up to the mirror and read it, you speak it into your soul. It's a rap CD. $10 million. 10 million possible young people that held that up to a mirror and spoke prophecy of doom and death into their own soul. I said, Lord, how did these rappers even think to do that? And God said, let me tell you something, Craig. Look at your neighbor and say, you ready for this? Holy Spirit said, Craig, I'm going to tell you something that you may not know and that most people don't know. He said, when I created Satan, his name was Lucifer. When I created him, I gave him one job. He had one ability, and this ability was even built into his physical or spiritual being, and that was to make music. God said, I created him as the son of the morning, which means he's the first sound of the morning. He was the one that ushered in the very presence of God. He was the first sound of the morning. Isaiah 14 and 11 even speaks of vials being built into his body. Vials are pipes. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials. He made music. But God told me, he said, one thing, Craig, that I think the church and a lot of us have missed about music is the power that music has. You know, we look at the devil, and always thinking that, he's cutting off our electricity. Lights off, to go off. Look at the devil out there cutting off my electricity. That ain't the devil. His name is on his shirt, who he is. He from TXU. You didn't pay your bill. You looking for the devil somewhere where the devil's not. Just pay your bill. Look at your neighbor and say, just pay it. They can't, do you know they cannot turn it off if you pay it? No matter how hard they try, they can't turn it off if it's paid.